This is the Volkswagen Crafter Kampervan, a new Australian camper conversion for this big commercial van. It's developed in conjunction with Jayco in Australia, made in Victoria, and hey, there's a lot to like about it. There's a couple of different versions to choose from, and well, a lot of value on offer as well. If you're thinking about spending 200 grand on a camper van, you'll get this for a lot less. So stay tuned, we're going to cover it all in this review. I'm even going to tell you what it's like to sleep in. Let's go. If you've already liked and subscribed, thanks very much. Let's go check it out. There are two different versions available of the Crafter Camper in Australia. The entry-level one is called the Style. You'll see the price for it on your screen now, and it's more focused on-road driving. And then there's the all-terrain version, which costs a bit more, but adds a few extras to help you get a little bit off the beaten track if you wish. You've got a lift kit, you've got underbody protection, you've got all-terrain tires, and a different wheel package as well. So the all-terrain version is going to basically tailor to those who are looking to go a little bit off the beaten track, whereas this one's more for on-road driving. Now, there is a heap of standard equipment fitted to this vehicle. I'm going to run through the interior features in a sec, but you get stuff like interior and exterior speakers, a TV, you've got a 2-burner cooktop, you've got a fridge, and you've got heaps more stuff, including hot water and heating and air conditioning and all the things that you would expect in a camper van at this kind of money, and some extras that you wouldn't expect. Now, let's go inside and take a look, shall we? Right, so let's have a look in the back here and see what we're dealing with. Now, you do have nice wide opening doors. They open 270 degrees. Where's the other thingo? Here. And you'll notice on the doors is where your outdoor setting is attached. So it's basically out of the way and you can store it when you're not using it, and nice and easy to access it when you do need it. Now, under here, you've got a trundle drawer, so you've got heaps of storage under the fixed bed space. You've got a zipper section here, so you can keep the doors open at night and let the air in if you want to, but with a fly screen, so it keeps the bugs out, which is good to see. Under there is your 9-kilo gas bottle. You've got a couple of storage slots on the side as well. And hey, you can even set it up so you've got an outdoor shower if you want, which is pretty neat. Okay, let's have a look inside this camper van. Now, to get inside, you've got a step if you need it. There's a button there to use this activated step. So nice sturdy step. And also the beauty of this is that it will retract itself if you get into the driver's seat, put it into drive, and it'll automatically put itself away in case you forget. Now, follow me in and you'll see that you've got a nice screen here, which makes for another nice experience if you want to have the outside coming in, but none of those bugs coming in. And before we get in here, you've got this sliding fridge, which means that you can access it from outside or from inside. So if you're outside with that outdoor picnic set sitting out there, you can just grab another tin of beer or whatever you want. Now, in here, you'll find yourself a seat for occupants if you want to take people with you. If you've got kids, there are top tether points here as well. You just might have to get them to camp outside because there's not enough beds for everyone if you're taking 4 people with you. This table is removable, so you can get it out of the way and put it outside if you want to. And the front seats obviously will swivel, so you can have a dining room if you want. Up here is where you'll find your control station for all your electronics, and storage is a really big priority for this van. So you've got a storage section. Let me just get this thing to work, like there. You've got a storage section up here and plenty of other storage towards the back. But before you get there, you've got your kitchen, and you've got a 2-burner gas cooktop here, which is fed by a 9-kilo gas bottle. You've got a chopping board, a sink with hot water. Plus down here, you've also got a microwave. Obviously, it's never been used. And in here is your bathroom. So that's where you've got your sink, your showers here. You've got lots of decent ventilation in the ceiling, which you might need occasionally. Yes, that's your toilet. And there is also a 120-litre water tank and an 80-litre grey water tank as well. And yeah, of course, you've got to deal with those nasties that you might leave in that toilet if you need to. You've got a bunch of different little storage cubbies down here for you to keep things in place, and more storage up here, as I mentioned. So we'll get to the bed in a sec. First, just got to go to the shitter. So even more storage up here, and obviously this is your bed. It's a queen size bed. in terms of width, at least 180 centimeters. So I'm a little bit too long for it, but we'll see how we go. I'm actually going to sleep in here tonight, and I'm hoping that I won't actually need to make use of the facilities in here overnight, but we'll see. And at the very back, you've obviously got the rear doors, which you can pop open and put that screen down if you wish. As well as that, you've also got fans in the back to keep things ventilated and comfortable, and lights as well. So those elements have been added. You've got a speaker system in the very back as well. USB charge ports down here too. Couple of power points, and that is where your TV can go if you want to use it. So look, I think that there's a lot of really handy stuff in here, lots of storage as well. So I think you're going to be pretty comfortable. Other things that you might appreciate if you do spend a bit of time in your vehicle is this pop-out hatch, I guess you'd call it. So you've got a lot of fresh air. That comes with a nice blind or mesh cover so the bugs don't get in. And at the back, you've also got windows with the same sort of covering. Yes, these do pop open if you wish, and you can lock this down in place, and you've got a nice fly screen there to keep the bugs out. Nice little light under the step inside. My abode for the evening is all set. I've got my shades over the front glass, probably not applied to 100% spec, but at least they're up. And at the back, bed's made up. I've got the diesel heater running. Now the diesel heater, interestingly, is not at the front in the electronics control panel. It's actually down here. This is the controller right here. And what that means is that if you're in bed and it gets a little bit too hot, or if you want to warm it up a little bit, it's very easy to do so. Now, I might not have shown this before, but these blinds also have a shade as well as the fly screen. So you've got screen or the blind, which is very, very handy. And that's on both sides. So yeah, the blackout blinds at the back. I've got to roll down the blackout blind here now and hopefully get a little bit of sleep. The diesel heater is doing its job. Bed beckons. I've got the blinds down. At the back there, you can see all the privacy blinds have been shut up. So look, it's probably time for me to hit the hay and see what this bed is like, and I'll let you know what it was like in the morning. See you then. Morning. I actually slept pretty good here. Look, this is an inner spring mattress. There was feedback from Volkswagen customers of the first camper that the foam mattress system wasn't quite comfortable enough. And like, this isn't the most comfortable bed, but I slept well enough. And you know, you're camping after all, so you have to expect a less than perfect night's sleep. So yeah, it was all right. Better go and tell you a bit more about this van, eh? So what about the cockpit area? Well, it's the Crafter all over. And look, there is a new version of the Volkswagen Crafter coming with a different infotainment system and different interior stuff. So that might be worth waiting for. But I think that this is actually a really, really usable cabin space. You've obviously got your touchscreen media system here with dials. Thankfully, you've also got conventional controls for your air conditioning. All of that stuff makes for a very easy to live with vehicle. As you can see, you've also got a heated windscreen and a heated steering wheel as well. A leather lined steering wheel, digital instrumentation up there as well with the digital speedo. And the storage in here is absolutely fantastic. So I'm going to show you above the seats firstly. So you've got a shelf section up there, or an overhead folder holder as I like to call them. You've got a couple of other storage sections there. And down on top of the dashboard, you'll see that you've also got a heap of storage, including a 12 volt, and lots of loose item storage. Cup holders as well. There's cup holders on the edges of the dashboard, another little storage section down there, and another tray in front of the passenger. And then there's the door storage. So you've got multi-layer storage down in the doors and a decent walkthrough as well. Just make sure that you don't trip over that manual handbrake. You've got these seats which swivel around. They've also got captain's armrests. So look, from a cockpit perspective, it is the comfort zone. Under the bonnet of the Crafter Camper, there's a 2-litre bi-turbo diesel engine. You'll see the outputs on your screen now, and they are pretty handy. Not necessarily the most torque that you can get from a diesel engine from a Volkswagen product, but I'll show you that it is decent enough for this application. Comes with an automatic transmission, as you would expect, and it's got 4-motion all-wheel drive for both grades, so you don't have to get the all-terrain to get all-wheel drive, which I think is a really nice advantage for this van. Now, if you're wondering about towing capacity, you'll see the number on your screen now, and also, if you're wondering about fuel tank capacity, I'll put that there for you as well. So let's go for a drive, shall we, and see what it's like. So we're starting off the drive experience part of this review in the style grade, which Volkswagen says is the on-road focused version. It makes sense. It doesn't have any of the off-road elements, and it doesn't have the lift kit. So it's a little lower to the ground, a little bit, in theory, more aerodynamic, and a little bit more focused on the daily driving aspect of a camper van like this. And I have to say, it is absolutely beautiful to drive. It's got the long wheelbase vibe. So yes, it is a very, very long wheelbase. It's a big van, but it feels very comfortable and very manageable in terms of the drive experience. One of the things that makes it feel so manageable is the steering, which is just lovely. Like, I'm on a freeway at the moment, just tootling along at 90 k's an hour with the traffic, and I have to say that the steering, when you decide that you need to overtake or change lanes or something, it's very direct, and that means that it's far more predictable in the way that it behaves itself in those sorts of situations. If you do find yourself, well, needing to indicate across, it doesn't feel like a big van to maneuver in little quick moves like that. Yes, that ride comfort is one other thing that really does pay dividends when you are doing long distance road trips, and so this is going to be a relatively short drive. Unfortunately, they're not giving me this car for a 3-week loan to go and see the countryside. It's just a short drive outside of Melbourne, or on the roads towards the outside of Melbourne at least. But I mean, for the idea of, well, just jumping in your van and getting out of town for the weekend on a whim, I mean, the drivability of this is really, really good. What could perhaps be a little bit better is the visibility for the driver, but primarily I'm talking about rearward visibility. So you've got a standard auto dimming rear vision mirror up here, but you don't have one of those clever rear view camera systems which you get in some other vehicles these days. So a digital camera monitor that pops up there. That would make seeing out the back of this van so much easier, but otherwise the mirrors are actually very good. They're a dual pane setup, and so you do get a decent view behind the van when you do an at a glance look at your mirror. And also over shoulder, there's a glass pane there, and on the other side as well. So you can just do a quick glance to make sure that you are, well, safe if you are trying to merge or something like that. So what about this powertrain? Well, 2-litre turbo diesel, and it's the most powerful version that you can get in the Crafter, and it gets along really, really well. It's an 8-speed automatic transmission, and so far I've found that the logic of this transmission is really, really good. It's very quick to step down a gear if you do need to suddenly get some more pace, and it'll find the torque sweet spot and just progress you along the road really nicely. It's a really impressive powertrain, very quiet as well, which is good. Another thing about this powertrain, on hill descents, it will use the engine exhaust braking, so it'll downshift and use a bit of revs to help you save your brakes a little bit if you're on long downhill stretches. So that is a nice thing to note for those touring moments where you start to feel like maybe the brake pedal is getting a little longer. Right, so even though this one is the style, the on-road focused model, you still get the 4Motion all-wheel drive system as standard. So you've got the sure-footedness of all-wheel drive when it's required. It'll apportion torque to the front or rear or to all four wheels depending on what the situation is. So if you find yourself on a slippery road, maybe there's ice on the road, maybe it's a wet road in a heavy downpour, or you're on gravel tracks and unsealed roads, you do have that peace of mind of having all-wheel drive if you need it. And also there is a rear differential lock for this version as well as the high spec all-terrain model. So yeah, I mean, you shouldn't be finding yourself in trouble when it comes to keeping this thing on the road, but just keep in mind it is a big old thing, it's quite heavy, and even though it is, it's actually really manageable to drive. And it is a little bit loud in terms of the other road noise intrusion. So yes, it's got a lot of stuff on the roof and you can hear the wind rush over the top of that. And there's lots of other elements around the outside of the car that maybe aren't as aerodynamic as a standard van. So you do hear a bit of wind rush around the outside of the vehicle. And obviously it's a big open space as well. So there's a little bit of noise coming from behind, but I think for what this is trying to be and what it is, it's a pretty nice drive experience on the whole for an on-road drive. And look, there's also really good safety elements with this car. You've got a lane keeping assistance feature, so it'll help you stay in your lane if it thinks you're going to stray from it. And also you've got adaptive cruise control, so you can set the distance between you and the car ahead to basically do the braking for you on cruise control and make sure that you aren't getting too close to whatever's ahead. And yes, I am keeping a bigger distance between me and the vehicle ahead, but I have noticed that, well, the braking response is still very, very good with this van. You've got four-wheel disc brakes, and yep, it does pull up pretty strongly. Another thing that's really good about the safety technology and the stability control systems implemented in the Crafter van is that it's got a crosswind assist function. So if the system detects that there's a big crosswind that's pushing you around, it'll help you to mitigate that by making it a little bit more stable on the road, and it is noticeable. And I will say that in terms of the ergonomics, it's all very good. Like, you sit up in a great position here. There's heaps of adjustability to the seat as well. So smaller and taller drivers will be able to get comfortable. And you've also got nice leather-lined steering wheel, as I said, and the shift is very close to hand. But one thing is that the handbrake is right down here on the left of the driver, so you just have to keep that in mind. No electric handbrake, which would be an improvement if they could offer that, I reckon. I've now jumped into the all-terrain version of this vehicle, and let me tell you, it's not the one I would choose because it gets, well, some compromises when it comes to the drivability. You've got a different tyre package. It's a 16-inch wheel and tyre with a more assertive tyre, so it's a noisier tyre on the road, and maybe not as grippy feeling as well as the 17's Continentals on that other model. So it's maybe a compromise in terms of that drivability, but also there's more road noise coming into the cabin, and also it's a higher ride height, so it's a bit harder getting in and out of the vehicle. But also, I mean, there's a lot of alsos here. You've got a firmer feeling ride, so you can hear there's a lot more rattling in the cabin, a lot more rattling in the cabin. And you've got a snorkel fitted to this vehicle in particular, so you do get a bit more of that noise coming into the cabin too. So if it was me and I wasn't going to be planning to do gravel roads all the time, I would certainly be buying the on-road version, but I can see the merits in choosing this version, which has a bit more ground clearance and, you know, will have better grip in those slippery situations due to those tires. So look, it's really horses for courses, but both of them, even if this one isn't quite as luxurious feeling to drive as the standard style, I think that both of them drive really nicely. Now, because this is a commercial vehicle over a certain size, it doesn't necessarily have to have a official fuel consumption figure based on the Australian rules. But in the past, I've driven the Crafter as a commercial vehicle, and seen around 9.5 litres per 100 Ks unladen. Now, for this application, across both the style and the all-terrain versions, I'll show you on screen what I saw over this drive loop, a couple of 100 Ks of mixed driving, but like I said, freeway and open road, but not necessarily off-road or much of the slow speed stuff that you might find yourself doing if you're coming in and out of towns or something like that. So those numbers, tell me what you think in the comments. I reckon that's actually pretty good for a vehicle that's this large, this heavy, and offers this much. So if you think this is right for you, what about the ownership element of this package? Well, you've got a 5-year unlimited kilometre warranty for the vehicle itself and 5 years of warranty for all the stuff that Jayco has added to this mix as well. And you've got access to the service network for Jayco and Volkswagen as well. There's also a cap price servicing plan for this van. You'll see the care plan price on your screen. So that's if you prepay, or you can pay as you go if you want to as well. And 5 years of roadside assist too. So seems to stack up pretty well when it comes to ownership. So there you have it, the Volkswagen Crafter Kampervan. Is it a good price? Would you consider it over one of the mainstream RV manufacturers? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments section below, and if you want to see more camper content, let me know and I'll see what I can do. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.